I'm Father D.
And I'm Phil.
And we're the robe and the suit. A Christian podcast combining varying perspective and a witty debate on the impact of the Orthodox word on everyday life.
Hey, Father, great to be back with you. Boy, what a Sunday we had last week,
Yes,
huh?
we did.
The sinners.
And the saints.
And some saints, yes. Come on, tell us.
One particular saint.
Yeah, I guess. It was a surprise, though. Seems to be a surprise.
It's a reversal.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about it.
The Publican and the Pharisee. It's a big one. It's a big one, Phil. We're at the start of what's called the Triodion. Yep, it's the start of the Tri-Odes. Okay, it's a special book that we start 3 weeks before Lent.
Okay, so we're going down the Lenten journey.
We're down the Lenten journey, yep. And the next 3 Sundays are particular readings that are preparing us for Lent. And the messages are Lenten messages that get our minds, our souls in a place for all of the Lenten, extra ascetical practices that are going to get us ready for Easter.
So more self-reflection, you think?
More self-reflection, more inner reflection, more introspection. And so this particular Sunday, the Publican and the Pharisee is addressing something of pride and humility, prayer, self-righteousness versus repentance, and what does that mean?
Okay.
So it's kind of a tough message for those people that like to do good, quote-unquote, good deeds and like to be recognized for them, which can be any religious person.
Sure.
And in Jesus' day, it was the Pharisee, or it was the Sadducee. It was the religious leaders. So he tells a story, a parable, again, a made-up story of a Pharisee and a tax collector, right? So a Pharisee was the religious leader of the day, and he says, you have 2 people. You go into a synagogue, or their church of the time, and the Pharisee is standing in front of the congregation, and he's wearing his robes, he's wearing all of his finery, and he's standing in front of the iconostasi, or their altar, praying to himself. That's important. He says he's praying to himself.
Interesting.
Even
though he was in front of the
right, not praying to God, praying thusly to himself. Thank God I am not like those other sinners. So already he's comparing himself to other people. Look at how good I am compared to them.
So he's already beating his chest.
Right.
And it's not even in prayer to God. It's just to hey, here I am. I'm making it. I'm the big guy.
Yep.
I'm good to go.
I'm doing what I'm supposed to. I'm fasting. I'm praying. I'm being a quote unquote good follower of the law.
Right. And we got those people in business.
Okay.
We got them out there.
Okay.
Predominantly leaders at times.
And they like to show off.
And in a sense, they don't think they are, but they are. As they come across with, here's what we got to do. Here's what you got to be like. If you're going to get to the mountain, if you're going to get to the top here, this is how it's going to be. So very similar dynamic in a corporate environment to some degree.
And how do other business execs handle those kind of personalities?
Yeah, people take a step back and they're going whoa, wait a minute here. I am who I am, so now I have to change. So there's a whole conversation around, am I going to get further in my career, or how am I going to do? These type of people can influence others in ways that they might think are the right things to do.
Okay.
But I guess with where we're going with this parable, it's probably not the right path to go down.
So in the spiritual realm, anytime we are self-righteous, anytime we are comparing ourselves to others and thinking that we're better than someone, we're already down the wrong path, right? So anytime we do something good, or what we think is good, the second that we think, oh, I'm good, we're bad.
Yeah.
The second we think, I just did something good, and therefore I'm better, then we spoil the whole cake.
You know, that's interesting because in an athletic environment,
Right.
you know, your always mindset is I'm the best. I can do better than anybody else. You know, there's this whole competitive nature. Same thing in corporate environments. You almost are coming to that very cocky nature, could spill into narcissism. It could spill into some other things. But you're taught that I got to be that way, or else if I don't see myself that way, I'm going to be trampled on and I won't make it. Wrong side of the coin.
Mean, I guess in the realm of you know, in the Christ-like life,
Yeah.
Jesus taught that if you want to be first, you got to be last. If you want to save your life, you lose your life.
Interesting.
So all of the saints, all of the people that we follow and we emulate, they believe that they were the worst sinners. And anytime that they taught or anytime that they compared themselves to others, they would say, look, I'm the worst among all of you. Even when they were the best. This is the difference. Even when they were at the top of the mountain, the pinnacle of the peak, and they were, you know, doing everything perfectly right, they never put it in anyone's face and said, look at how much I'm doing, and made other people feel less than. They always kept that humility and still lifted up others and kept kept themselves lower.
Sure.
To boost others up. And I think that's where the message of Christ really inverts this power dynamic.
Yes.
So the message from the Publican and the Pharisee today is kind of a tough one, because for those of us that are going into this Lenten journey, he's really saying, beware that if you think you're going to go and become like this Pharisee who does all of the fasting in the Lent, right? So in Lent, we're going to be fasting for 40 days, right? No meat, no dairy, no cheese, more extended services, more ascetical practices, right? It's a more rigorous time. If we're going to be doing all of that, there's a danger that we start thinking, I'm now somehow superior to those that are not doing it right. Because the Pharisee was doing all of these things. And now he starts comparing himself. Well, look, I'm so much better than this tax collector who's in the back of the room. He's a known sinner. He's a known thief who steals other people's money. And then Jesus says, actually, he is the saint.
Oh.
So you want to talk about him for a second?
Yeah, because now we got a situation where it's almost the guy that isn't living up to the standard is the standard.
Right.
It opens the door. We need to talk about him because it opens the door to it's a long-lasting practice, strategic practice in a leadership training called servant leadership.
Oh, okay.
It's been built, and it's a known discipline. However, it's just coming to the forefront now in corporate America. And we talk a little bit about that, but that seems to be where we're headed with this. So now you got this guy who's the opposite.
Right.
Almost like you can't be doing that kind of stuff if you're going to get ahead.
Right.
And there's this, Christ is saying, no, the way you guys are thinking about it is wrong. This is the way to go.
Right.
So let's talk about him for a second.
He's like the unsung hero.
Okay.
So he's what's called they called him the publican at the time, which is he was a tax collector, and the tax collectors of Jesus's time were usually fellow Jews, right? So they could be a neighbor, and they worked for the Roman government, and they would go to their neighbors and say, "Come on, cough up your taxes."
Right.
But what they would typically do is, let's say you owed, I don't know, 10 denarii to the Romans. Well, they would collect 11. And that extra denarii, they'd keep for themselves. And it was known that they were untrustworthy.
Sure.
And they would skim from the top. So they were known sort of thieves and untrustworthy. So typically they would be called sinners. Nobody trusted them. Nobody liked them.
Right.
So they would use these figures as sinners in their parables and in their stories. So Christ says, you've got this tax collector, this sinner, this thief. He's in the back of the church. He feels so bad about himself. He knows that he is a sinner.
Right.
He will not even lift up his eyes. He's literally beating his chest, tears streaming down his face, praying to God, God, forgive me.
So
I am a
repentance.
sinner.
Right.
In a mode of repentance.
So there's the development piece, right? You're going down the wrong road. You understand that you've got these flaws, but you're totally taking that in and saying, no, wait a minute, I'm going to correct myself. I need some forgiveness. I need, a little charity, a little grace. I'm going to change my ways.
Which in the Greek is metania.
Metania.
Metanoo. To literally...
After, meta.
Metanoo, the change of the mind. The nous.
Right.
Metanoo. To literally do an about turn.
Okay.
To go one way and now to say, actually, I need to turn around and go the totally different direction. I need to go around and change my ways.
Yeah.
This is a parable about repentance.
It's interesting, too, because, again, on the corporate side of this thing, you're trying to develop people. You're trying to bring them through it. And then the ones that totally understand it and get it begin this journey of humility. There's a great book by Pat Williams, who is the guy that he's in the NBA Hall of Fame. He was very famous because he brought the Orlando Magic to life.
Okay.
He's a big, he writes sports. And anyway, he wrote this big book after interviewing leaders in athletic, particularly basketball. And the secret to leadership success is humility. So I can see how this message then drives us back to self-reflection, correction, not worrying about these other people or meeting those standards.
Right.
But trying to improve ourselves and take the responsibility ourselves for how we will improve.
And to be humble. Because you can be humble in any state of life.
Yes.
Right? And other people see that.
Yes.
Even at the top of the mountain. Right? Like I'm sure you appreciate when your bosses and superiors are humble.
Yeah.
I know I do.
Of course.
So in this story, Jesus is saying, look, you've got these two guys. The one is supremely self-justifying, comparing himself, and he is narcissistic. He is vain. He is prideful. And God does not hear his prayers.
Right.
But he's doing everything right.
Another like, right.
And then you've got the guy in the background who's doing everything wrong.
Right.
He's a sinner. He's a thief. He's untrustworthy. But he is in a mode of repentance. He's in a mode of contrition.
Sure.
His heart is broken because he feels bad for what he's done. He is humble, and he's in tear. He is in tears, and he's broken.
Truly self-reflection.
He is not comparing himself to others.
Anybody.
And his tears are the greatest gift to God.
Amazing. So we got to back off the cockiness.
That's it.
We can't get to that narcissistic line.
We got to be humble.
And we have to bring on this level of humility that is unique to ourselves.
Right.
That then can touch others.
Right. So on the one hand, we can know that if we have fallen and if we have sinned,
it's okay. Get up.
There's a path to repentance. There's a path to we feel bad, we correct our ways, and we keep moving forward.
Yep.
But if we haven't done anything wrong, or we think we haven't done anything wrong, we got to be real careful.
Yeah.
Because as soon as we start feeling like, I'm doing pretty good, and we start comparing ourselves and we say, I'm doing real good,
Right.
then we get high on our horse.
Danger.
And we get knocked right back down.
Danger. Which is, again, the servant leadership component that is really taking over corporate America, knowing the diversity of the workforce and the diversity of the group of people you're going to lead,
Right.
and how they want to be led and talk to and understand that you're going to help develop them. But you yourself, as an executive, have to get to that stop sign,
Right.
because there's this notion of balance and self-reflection.
Right. Without your team coming to you and saying, you know what, you're a narcissistic jerk.
Then it becomes problematic.
Then you got problems.
Amazing. That's fantastic. What a great way to twist this thing and shock ourselves into the reality of like, hold on a second, take a look in the mirror and let's get this figured out first, right?
Right.
As we head to
A little
Lent.
reflection.
So we got a couple of good ones coming down the pipe, right?
Yeah, pre-Lenten, some self-reflection and some thought.
We'll be talking about the prodigal son next time,
That's right.
which is kind
It's
of an
coming up.
interesting segue
Loss,
coming off of this.
being found, being lost,
Amazing.
father, son, brothers. Yes, good stuff.
Listen, man, this has been very fun. I think we're onto something here,
I
right?
think we are, Phil. I hope the readers and the listeners enjoy,
So do I.
and I look forward to the next time.
Yeah, me too. And that's a wrap for The Robe and the Suit, a Christian podcast combining varying perspective and witty debate on the impact of the Orthodox word on everyday life.
Download and listen wherever you get your latest podcasts.
There's no need for you to dress up. Leave the robe and the suit to us.